another unit. So all of my whole episode of Asylum, I was just talking to a green circle. So Matt was never there for any of it. And we had Steve, our script supervisor, reading in, like, you know, the Dalek lines and reading in the Doctor. So he came to set so he could run it a bit. But that, I'd love Oswin to come back. I really enjoyed playing that part. And the same, I think it's great that, you know, she gets to pop up in these different incarnations, and it's a really interesting idea of take the same essence of a person and pop her in any planet, space or time, and what would she turn out like? But in essence, she's got the same, it's Clara running through it all.
Thank you. Have you seen the YouTube footage of the compilation of fans watching Matt's final minutes?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God, you must. You will. It's just streams of people weeping.
Oh, really?
Absolutely weeping. And I was watching that on my own, my God, because your line to, I'm going now. Your
stay strong.
Final line to don't go, and just as it changes, that's when I just howled. And you should watch it because it's very moving that you see such love from fans like this in a brilliantly acted and touching scene.
Yeah.
Was the emotion, was it an emotional thing for you to do that final scene?
Oh my goodness, it really was. And it's funny because we've been trying to avoid that day for ages, and it's that looming thing of, you know that scene's coming and you don't want to do it because you know it's the goodbye and you kind of don't want to get there. But it's really, like the whole day, the energy on the set was very, very strange because it's the weird conflicting thing of you're feeling so sad that you're losing, you know, a wonderful character of the 11th Doctor and Matt and your friend on set and all these things, but at the same time, Peter walks on set and does this. Seriously, they need to release some outtakes of what he did that day. Totally barking mad. And I was literally just like mouth open, staring at him, incredibly excited about that next part of the journey and becoming friends with Peter and seeing what he was going to do. So you've got such extreme emotions of both things at the same time that it's really hard to describe actually, because you're incredibly excited but also really, really sad as well. It was a strange day.
We saw on the DVD extra Matt actually cracking.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, even from the read-through, it was. You know, it's such a. You know, for both of us, it's such a huge part of our lives, and we loved, you know, working together so much. So it's very sad to say goodbye. I think that's the thing with this show is it gets under your skin and you kind of fall in love with it. So. But, you know, it's the same thing that Stephen said. There's never been a show that he's worked on that saying goodbye for all of the characters, all of the companions, it's such an emotional process. And I don't know what it is. I think it's the adventure and the fact that it's the two of you that go on this adventure together. So when that shifts, it's very difficult because you know it's a moment in time that you're never going to get back. I've had a lot of coffee.
There was a lovely sequence in last week's episode, the Mummy episode, where you're on the phone to Danny, and I don't know if this is deliberate or me looking into it too much, but you say to Danny, I love you, but you're looking at the Doctor.
Yeah, I did that on purpose. Yeah, I'm glad you noticed that.
It was brilliant, wasn't it?
Oh, I'm really glad you noticed that.
Wonderful.
Oh,
and the reaction from Peter, it's as I'm saying, the spark between Clara and the Doctor is just brilliant to watch. As a fan, I've been a fan all my life, it's exciting to watch it again because we don't know what's happening next.
I find you can't quite put your finger on what it is, the relationship. Because it takes a while, and it's the same thing with me and Matt. When you start it, you don't quite know what it is that you're doing. And I think it's an okay thing, because it develops and becomes whatever it is that it's going to be. But I find it's such a friendship that I think you put the two of us together and you look at the two of us and it should never ever work. We should never be friends. Yeah, it's kind of unlikely and strange and charming, and somehow he's not kind of quite a dad to her, or he's kind of a bit of an amalgamation of all these things that somehow, I don't know, they just belong somehow, I think.
Is he going to soften though? Slightly?
I think we will get to know him more. We will understand how this doctor ticks, but what it's a slow burner, but we will get to know him more.
Because last week, when one of the characters was about to die, he says, I'm about to die, and he said, hard cheese. He said, hard cheese, tell me what you can see. Oh my god, that's so callous. Sorry, yeah, we've been wrapped, I'm so sorry, you can stand there.
Oh, hello.
Go on.
Hi. I was just wondering, from saving the Doctor at all points in his timeline, being the impossible girl, to being the monster under his bed as a child, setting him on his path, so to speak, I was just wondering how it felt to have such a massive impact on the Doctor as a show.
Oh, it's great. I mean, you pick up these scripts and you're like, I mean, picking up the name of the Doctor was great. And I read like the sequence up to the whole time sequence, and running through time and space, up to like the Hartnell bit. And I just literally had to put the script down and was like, this is just, And then you pick the script, like, it's just great because you seriously, from episode to episode, you really don't know where you're going to go, and you can push it to so many places and listen as well, and somehow then we're back in the barn, and it's just great being a part of a show that has so much history because you've just got so much to touch upon all the time.
Thank you.
Next, please.
Hi, Jenna.
Hello.
If you could be any doctor, which doctor would you be and why?
That's a good question. They're all the same, aren't they? They're all the same. The Doctor is the Doctor, but maybe Hartnell because he was the first.
I think you're the only companion who's technically worked with every single Doctor.
Yeah, I'm quite proud of that.
Every Doctor. It's amazing. Are you happy with that answer? Very good, sit there.
Hello.
So actually, curiosity again. If you could travel with any other Doctor, who would you travel with?
Oh, I mean, I've been greedy enough, I think. I've definitely had my fair share of Doctors. I have to say, I really did love working on the 50th with the three of them. I think just having the three of them to kind of play off was great, and the energy on set as well. I mean, one Doctor is enough, and can you imagine when all three are on set together? So that was a particularly special episode, I think.
And just one thing I'm curious about, and I'm probably never going to be able to ask again. Did Clara actually fancy the 11th Doctor?
Yes, she did. Did Clara fancy the 11th Doctor? I think she was a bit of hero worship, but she would never tell him that.
No vomiting and no hanky-panky. Those are the TARDIS rules.
Hi, Jenna.
Hello.
Just wondering, what was it like for you after those first few episodes of Doctor Who there? I mean, were you ready for the change in your life, the show like Doctor Who brings?
For the what, sorry?
The change in your life, the show like Doctor Who brings? Do you have some sort of idea of what it's going to be like?
I don't know really, because I suppose when you're in the middle of it, it's really hard to answer, to be honest. Because as well, I mean, I've just finished shooting 9 months in Cardiff, so you don't really see much outside of the studios in Cardiff, and then suddenly you get released into the wild, and then you go on a world tour, and you're like wide-eyed, and you kind of see how far-reaching it is to so many people across the world, and that's I think it was a really humbling thing to be involved with, because when you go to work every day and you focus on you trying to make the scenes good and do the work, you forget how far it goes. So I think that bit is always a very, very humbling thing, I think.
Did you find the reception that you got doing the world tour similar to this? Yeah,
and it's obviously, there's just something universal about it. I think that there's a similar energy and enthusiasm that you're met with, which just seems to be common to Who fans that you get in every country that we went to on the tour. And it's just, I mean, it's wonderful.
Next question, please.
Hello, Jenna.
Hello.
What types of skills do you think you've acquired or developed through your unique experience in Doctor Who? Stories and the changing cast, kind of the characters.
I can say Doctor in infinite ways. I suppose, do you know what? Things like, I always remember noticing for my first few weeks, things like simple things like green screen that I'd never really done much of before. Like, there was a scene that me and Peter have coming up where you have to react like you're scared for your life with some wolves. I hope that's not a spoiler. And actually, you know, you've just got a first assistant director like holding a tennis ball swinging on a stick. And that's the reality of it, and actually create, like, you know, trying to create a truthful story, but really you're just staring at a tennis ball. So it's a technical show in so many ways. But I think my favourite thing actually is just having a length of time to really develop a relationship with another person on set, and you know, and all the stuff in the TARDIS, and it becomes your home, and it's that stuff which is all my favourite stuff. But yeah, there's a massive technical aspect which I think I've acquired, I hope. Eyebrows. I think it's probably the Doctor going from nothing, and that was the only shot that gave away, and you know, Stephen.
And Catherine Tate at the front there, your question.
Hi, Jenna.
Hello.
My question is, when Clara has like a mixture of emotions and reactions when meeting the 12th Doctor for the first time, does that reflect what you personally were thinking when having to sort of learn to act with Capaldi like a new Doctor? So, yeah.
It actually that day did, I think. Just because I think what we did is we allowed loads of time for Peter to come on and, you know, just play around, and I think there was only like 2-3 lines, like it wasn't a huge scene. But I'm not joking when I say there's outtakes of him where he starts singing the lines, and he's like pretty much like singing opera about his kidneys, and he's running around, and it looks like he started breakdancing at one point. So the stuff that you've seen, he's quite together in it, but actually there must be 50 different versions of that scene where he was just like throwing stuff at the wall and trying things. So even though he looks like he's being quite cool, I'm literally doing this at Peter running around, so it's quite a true reaction, I think.
So come the break, thank you. Come the break between Matt's last episode and Deep Breath, and you get into the studio, and here he is. Did you feel, oh my god, this is amazing, with what he was doing?
Well, it's really hard when you're in the middle of it to know, because you're just playing the scene, if that makes any sense. So you've not really got... There were certain days that I remember when... In fact, I remember the first scene that we did, and there was so much going on in it, and I could tell, you know, it was meeting people for the first time, arriving on set, hello, I'm Doctor Who, you know, really like Peter had to do all that stuff. And it was about 3 takes, and on the 3rd take, I just remember I was still stood in the TARDIS as he goes out, of thinking, and we're off. And that was it, really. And he's just so on form every single day, and really fearless, and will always try new things all the time, and, you know, isn't afraid of getting it wrong, basically. Not that he ever does, but not being afraid of it makes him brave and fearless. And I think it's really interesting, actually, seeing the end of this series where the Doctor's ended up from watching Deep Breath. There's a massive, like I say, we get to know him a lot more.
Does Peter use his knowledge as a Doctor Who fan whilst script reading or read-throughs? Does he ever correct things?
No, I think Stephen Moffat's pretty on that. I don't think there's much correction needed.
Metebilus? Yes.
Well, I'd like to say welcome to Australia and happy having you here. I'd also like to know if you could land the TARDIS in any other TV show or fictional universe, which would you choose?
I love that you put a twist on that question, because we always get asked if you can go anywhere in time and space, where would you go? Well, again, I've always wanted to go meet Cleopatra, so maybe I'd go back to that movie set and make an appearance.
Sounds good. Thank you for that.
Didn't Matt appear with Laurel and Hardy Yes, he did. It was before Clara, BC before Clara.
Oh yeah, when he was trying to get attention. Yeah.
What the hell are you?
I have no idea anymore.
Or I might be the Artful Dodger. Another one. Sorry.
Okay. Jenna.
Yes.
What is the strangest, most bizarre experience you've ever had on set of Doctor Who?
There's daily there's quite a lot. Wrestling with a man in a green leotard who's supposed to be the Victorian governess. You know, the show brings about so many things. What I really love, one of my favourite things about it is I think a comedy could be written of Doctor Who, like after we say cut. And you know, then everybody kind of like relaxes, and then you know you're sat with like the alien you've just been running away from, and suddenly, and suddenly it's like, so what do you have for your lunch, or what are you up to this weekend? And you're just just having a conversation about like the latest film you've been to see with the alien. It's quite bizarre.
What was all that goo that you slid into the Dalek?
That was like, oh god, it is actually something. I feel like it was alcoholic, and I know that sounds bizarre, but I remember I don't know if they were winding me up and I was being really gullible. But it was like a jacuzzi bath of gunk that they'd made like quite warm for us, so it was almost kind of a bit pleasant, but a bit weird as well.
Oh, hello.
Hello. What do you feel that you bring to the show as the Doctor's companion?
I have no idea. I really don't, and I think, because to be honest, I tend to, like, I watched this series, I don't like to watch it when it goes out on screen, I watch it afterwards. So when this series is finished, I'll go back and watch it, but it's, again, it's when you're in the middle of it, it's difficult to have an awareness of what it is, and I think maybe it'll be years later that, I think, to be honest, it's for other people to decide. I think I just play the stories and the scripts that are in front of me, and it will be, you know, what it will be, but it's not really for me to say.
I think you bring truth, vulnerability, and
awesomeness,
brilliance. Yeah. That'll be $10, please. No, seriously, it's magnificent. I keep going back to this pairing. It reminds me of Tom Baker and Liz Sladen. It's that sort of relationship again, which is the Doctor and his best friend.
Yeah, it's nice. That's what's really nice. It's nice to be his best pal.
No hanky-panky. Next, please.
Hi, I was just wondering which monster or alien is your favourite in the show?
Right. I feel like nobody ever talks about the Whisper Men. And I found them so scary in that last episode. And it's the fact that the ones that get me are the ones that come at you slowly. It's the ones that are so confident that they don't need to run because they know they're going to get you. There's something about that which I find really scary. And the fact that they had these hats and they kind of had a style and they didn't even need to shout. Like, I found them terrifying. Even in the trailers afterwards, like, they'd hang out the windows with a tight thing over their face. Oh my god, they freaked me out. I also like the silence. I'd like to do more with the Weeping Angels. I feel like I've not done a lot with those guys yet.
Alright, cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello.
What do you think about the direction that the new Doctor's going in?
I think it's really interesting, and I think I feel it's rejuvenated it, and I feel like it's not just the change of the format of the show's changed. Like, we've started to do, I don't know if people have noticed, but these longer scenes as well. So things like in Deep Breath, the sequence of the underground chamber and the Dr. Clara dinner date and things like that. I think we started to do these kind of 12-page scenes, which is new. And I think as well, it was just such a great start to the series having Ben Wheatley in, and the tone is very different. And I think it's scarier, and there's something about it which feels a bit fiercer as well. I think it's got an attack that it didn't have as much of, I don't think, before.
They've left the gingerbread cottage and now they've went into